No philosopher has had a greater influence on the 20th century than Friedrich Nietzsche. He was a remarkably original thinker who extrapolates some of the main tendencies of late 19th century Western thought and derives certain extreme and disturbing conclusions from his analysis of the history of Western thought. And he takes a position with regard to religion and theology that is in many respects the inverse of Soren Kierkegaard. Nietzsche is an existentialist thinker, often regarded as one of the seminal thinkers among the existentialists, but he decided to make the other half of the Kierkegaardian choice. He decided not to abandon all to religion, but rather to abandon religion to the tradition of pagan Greco-Roman antiquity. He was the most important thinker in the undermining of theology, particularly in the last 100 years. There is no one who has had a greater influence on the path of Western religion. Now, there are people in the history of the West with whom we might compare him, but few are as radical as Nietzsche. In some respects, you might compare him with Machiavelli, because he is strictly amoral. He thinks that morality is an impediment to superior men and the superior activities they might undertake. He is also utterly incapable of pity, it would seem, like, say, Callicles and the Gorgias. He wants power. Power is the center of Nietzsche's conception of the world. When we lose theological orientation, when theological insight is denied us, and we are marooned in this world of space and time, there are only greater and lesser quanta of power. We have a greater or lesser capacity to do the things that are truly within the human domain. Nietzsche wants to provoke us to a sort of atheistic heroism which replaces religion with art. It is very clear that this set of philosophical problems is going to be very influential in helping Joyce develop his aesthetic philosophy when he breaks away from religion and intends to substitute art in its place. Now, Nietzsche is often kind of criticized and sometimes praised for being the source of a great deal of 20th century atheism and existentialism, and he's sometimes connected with the Nazi movement, and that, I think, is dicey. It's hard to say whether he was adequately represented as a proto-Nazi or not. But it is certainly the case that he was a hypersensitive individual, and he was a man of extraordinary intellectual gifts. He was a professor of philology who had a tremendous grasp of the classical languages and had them early. He was appointed to his first position as a professor at 24. And in the German-speaking world, where there's only one professor of a given discipline in a university, that is a remarkable and extraordinary achievement. People could not speak highly enough of Friedrich Nietzsche in his early days.